Through the re-emergence of women's basketball, many Hall of Fame caliber girls have arisen, whether that is in the state of Kentucky or nationally. Basketball has been a staple of the high school sporting world for a very long time. Kentucky has been home to many famous referees, coaches, and players. The sport of basketball has been the center of attention since the moment the buzzer buzzed and the ball leapt off the official's hand. But women's basketball has not always been as strongly represented as it is today. 1926. The last state-sponsored girls' high school basketball championship took place. It wasn't until the 60s and 70s that the state-sponsored championships came back. Since the games have come back, so has the popularity for girls' basketball. The sport has become a pillar of high school sports.
I think the game of basketball is a game that gets in your blood at an early age. I remember a writer here in Providence, the city of Providence, saying that basketball just seems to be a game that gets in your blood. And for any young woman out there who's picked up the game at a young age, I picked up the ball at 7 and I haven't put it down since. There's something very special about working beside your teammates, everyone pulling in the same direction, putting in the time to improve your individual skill and your team skill. And I think the lessons learned and the confidence gained for young women playing the game of basketball is something that I think you can't put a real value on.
I think the reason that it's gotten so much better in Kentucky because when it first started, they didn't have the coaching that they have now. All right, the coaches back then, it was a job just to make a little extra money. Now you have coaches that actually in Kentucky that have played, whether it be a man or a lady, and fundamentally now the girls are so much better, can pass better, can shoot better, do everything better because they're being taught by people that actually played the game.
Back in the day, before I was even born, I heard stories from my aunts and even my mom talking about how, they would have offensive players and defensive players, and they couldn't cross half court back when it was playing girls basketball. I remember growing up back in the 80s, they only pulled out one side of the bleachers, and back when I played 92 through 96, I started my 7th grade year, we only had one side of the bleachers, and then the attendance gradually increased, and by the time I graduated, we were in packed houses. So through the years, girls basketball and just the state of basketball of Kentucky has grown tremendously, especially on the girls' side. So I think the competition between the boys and girls basketball teams definitely increased. I think back in the 90s, I know Northern Kentucky, they made us switch game times, game nights. Like when I played, it was Monday, Thursday were girls' nights, Tuesday, Friday were boys' nights. And then for Title IX, the state of Kentucky implemented the 40% of primetime games for girls we have to play. So out of 30 games, we have to play about 12 games on Fridays and Saturdays. And I think that's helped for the girls, showing the boys, hey, we're just as good. We're playing on primetime nights, not just you.
Well, I think that in the state of Kentucky, it was always boys basketball, always boys basketball. And I think the reason that the girls wanted to do it and compete was to show the guys that they really could do this. Back when it first started, there were no scholarships given for girls basketball in Kentucky. But now the opportunity, as you look around the state, we got the University of Kentucky, we got Louisville, we got Northern, we got Morehead. All of them give girls basketball scholarships. Back when it first started, there was no such thing. Now the opportunity is there. So that's why more and more girls are into it, and that's why they're so much better.
Playing high school basketball is definitely looks good for college on a resume. The fact that you work together with a team and you had that relationships built and your social skills to meet other people and make new friends is definitely an aspect that colleges look for.
It's helped just become more of a well-rounded individual, making sure they have time, they understand the time strains, making sure they're getting finished with homework, making sure they're coming to practice. Just, those little things that make a huge deal when they get out of high school. The time management is huge, and I think playing sports allows, females and even males to, get used to the time management.
Although I'm not playing college basketball, the experiences I have received in high school are incredible. I have achieved friendships with teammates and bonds that I will never forget.
What they benefit from is teamwork, getting along with your teammates, learning how to compete, okay, which is really important, and knowing that not everything comes easy, all right, and it doesn't.
The rise in popularity of girls basketball has influenced my life in multiple ways. I mean, when we have the Ozone filling up the stands for big games, the feeling on the court is incredible, and it just brings a sense of joy and happiness within the game, which is what it's supposed to be about, is having fun and playing with other people that are having just as much as fun.
State of Kentucky is probably the most passionate state in the country for that game. And so I just encourage all the young women out there to play hard, to play smart, and to play for one another. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing more special than walking back into your locker room, win or lose, and knowing that you have worked as hard as you possibly can work to reach your individual and team potential. That is something worthy of our time and our efforts.